Hello, today is a Sunday and we are here for our Food for Thought program with me, Cora, and
Hi.
our dear friend and expert of Pistoia because he lived there, Leonardo Alessi. So yesterday we
Hello.
introduced you. Hello. Yesterday we introduced you a little bit the wonderful main square, where is the cathedral, where is the baptistry and the civic palace. And today we wanted to move on. So, Leonardo, what can we present of Pistoia that we didn't see yesterday?
Well, I would say, first of all, again, good morning, everyone. I would say to start with a joke, that would be like Mission Impossible, because it would be hard to condense, of course, the history and the beauty of the city in just a couple of minutes. But there, as I said yesterday, there are quite many important buildings to see. I just would like to start again my little presentation by saying that also the city, the layout of the city, the streets, the little squares are unique as well. And we're not specifically talking about buildings, but they sum up in creating, they build up the idea of a beautiful medieval city, pretty compact, very well kept, I have to say. This is something that I always like to say. And sometimes it's just nice to walk around. Maybe you're not interested in anything in specific, but it would be just nice to walk around and just see, the different perspective, the little streets, the very small medieval sort of little squares as well. But as you walk around, you might sort of run into another beautiful building that has been the hospital of the city for a very long period of time. The name itself is pretty interesting because I'll say that in Italian first. The name is Ceppo, which basically the rough translation would be a sort of a tree trunk. And the legend has it that basically, a long time ago, apparently this sort of tree trunk has started to bloom, sort of to blossom. And that is the one of the things we say about that was at the base of the foundation, also of the site of the Ospedale del Ceppo. And today, the city has a brand new hospital, which was inaugurated in 2013, dedicated to, named after the patron saint. But the ancient building is really beautiful because once again, as I said yesterday, it's a little written page of art, because looking at its beautiful facade, we can actually see and understand and read basically the history of the hospital and even the history of the city, because we have a beautiful sort of, if I might use that word to make things easier, a sort of strip, cartoon that tells basically the history, as I said, which is a beautiful work of art that was carried out at the very beginning of the 1600s by Santi Buglioni. And a lot of people might think at the very beginning that it's a work of art by the Della Robbia workshop. It's not, but we do have something sort of belonging to the Della Robbia workshop, because there are some beautiful, stunningly beautiful medallions, round medallions, which sort of complete the decoration of the facade, which were carried out by Giovanni della Robbia. So once again, it's another beautiful highlight that really sort of tells quite many things about the city itself. And you don't have a ticket to pay because it's the facade, it's outside. You might just decide, to stand and look at it and basically spend time like that, because it's really, in my opinion, that would be just the one thing that would be worth taking the train from Florence to here.
Right.
What about the locals? Where can we find some life from Pistoia?
Well, there's a very beautiful little square. The name is Sala, Sala, which basically the name goes back to a very long, long time ago, basically the Longobards period of time, when that section of the city was basically a part of a very important building that was located in that area. And as we can see, the square itself during the day is home to a very well-known fruit and vegetable market. And I think we can see that in the picture right now. But also it's the heart of the local nightlife. I don't very much like this word because some people might maybe think of something else, but it's something it's something that I very much like because I was not born here. I was born in Florence and I moved here like 9 years ago. And it's something that really, sort of took my breath away. And I'm not joking because it's really where the local life is. Starting 6 p.m., you can see a lot of people converging there, and we start usually with the aperitivo, which is a much sort of richer thing that what other people might use to in other countries, because it's not just a simple glass of wine or a cocktail, but we have wine or something else that goes with something to eat. And usually you might even see like an abundance of food. That is the reason why in Italy, not just in Pistoia, we call them apericena, even if I don't very much like the term yet again myself.
Yes,
But
yes,
it's like a combination of a nice glass of wine, cocktail with something to eat, because we Italians, as you may know, it's hard for us to just drink wine or something by itself. We like to have something on the side. And La Scala is the place where in the last years, especially I would say 10, 15 years or so, a lot of new places, I would call them enterprises, mostly run by young people, have opened up. And it's really the place where you can basically just sit there with a glass of wine and see the world go by. And
yeah.
it's not a touristy area, and it's where you can
It's really
really,
charming. It's really
it's
charming. It
beautiful.
is.
And especially
Every
when it gets,
corner, place,
yes,
you may down and look for a different perspective because the square is really nice and show you, the back of the baptistry, this beautiful well in the center, or ancient tower houses, basements, or something like these, which is very interesting. I just like to ask you why the name of the square is Sala.
because Sala, as I said before, it was basically the main hall of a building that was there during the Longobards period of time. That was the seat of the Guastaldo. That was like a rep, basically, sort of governor, even if maybe the word wouldn't be that correct. That was basically based in the city, in the town of Pistoia. We're speaking about a period of time, just to give you an idea, that goes in between the 7th and the 8th century.
Right. This is what I want to underline. As we are talking about, a term that we are still using that started, really not yesterday.
A long time ago, and for some reason it has been retained by the local population, and we still use that to this day, which today is sort of defines the square. But Sala can also mean a very vast space of a certain proportion where certain activities would have been carried out. Today, as we said, of course, it's the market and the something more sort of food related.
Basically, the Italian aperitivo is the Italian evening version of a brunch, where you eat and drink something together and you enjoy company.
Well, we could say that, even if some people might argue that it's not really correct, but that could be a nice way to put it. It is doing what I do, being a guide and a tour guide. I often try to describe what that is, because usually, if you're speaking to an American, he or she usually gets the idea that you just have a glass of wine or whatever that is in your hand. But in Italy, and not just in Tuscany, but in Italy, you have to have something that goes with it. So we could
Right.
say, I mean,
Right.
getting to the to the heart of the discussion, I think we could say that, of course, that would be a sort of a late evening sort of brunch version, that you that you have quite a lot of food sometimes, because you have quite many places here on the square that really serve a lot lot of food. And once
Yes,
you're back
of course.
home,
And we're talking
you don't
about
really want
Tuscany.
to eat more.
Yeah, no, and then we are talking about Tuscany, and I mean that wine is really excellent. There are a few very special dishes that you may taste in every one of the different cities, and something like, confetti, which are, special sweets that you can taste if you go there. That's why in every city, as we are just trying to give you food for thought. So
Okay.
just to add something for the day. So I don't know if we have other questions for Leonardo, but I think that you did a great job
Thank you.
introducing us the city where you live. And really, I hope to have the chance to come and visit you as soon as it's possible, to have a lovely aperitivo with Cora on the Sala Square together. So thank you
That would be
very,
nice.
very
Thank you
much
very much.
Okay.
for today. Bye. See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye,
Ciao, ciao.
guys.